All right, so starting on dot, we'll go ahead with my introduction and then the introduction of the course and what's in line with the whole session and what's in store, what's the agenda and stuff. And then we will start off. So let us just see what we have in store, like what's the overall, the course and the structure of the course and stuff before we actually head away straight. Let's look into the course outline. So we have stages of negotiation, that's in different modules. Then that's module 1, stages of negotiation. The outcomes would be understanding the negotiation process, aims of each stage and what they involve, setting your objectives and planning for negotiation. Module 2 is skills of negotiation, which is competencies, qualities required for effective negotiation, checking for assertiveness, persuasiveness, and influencing skills. Conflict resolution. Module 3, we have preparing to negotiate, which is understand the preparation from different angles, purpose desired outcomes for both sides, profile of people present, interests and positions of all parties. Module 4, we have win-win negotiation, which is art of creating a win-win situation for both parties. Module 5 is like, I think, the biggest chunk that we have here. Yeah. So seeing the other, basically understanding the other people's point of view, their opinions, building the relationship, reading other people verbal and non-verbally, defining your negotiation style. There are different styles of negotiation. So for you to understand what is your style is actually essential for you to go ahead and plan, pre-plan, and then go ahead with your negotiation strategy. Okay, so dealing with emotions, playing the game of negotiation, analyzing the problem areas, deadlocks, standstills, and consciousness, concessions, handling opposition, what to do when a negotiation breaks down, working with your own negotiation rules and beliefs, dealing with hidden agendas, negotiation strategies, understanding the top strategies to deal with different people and different situations. Module 7, negotiables and non-negotiables, which is knowing your bottom line, knowing what to give away. Module 8, closing the deal, making decisions, closing and sustaining agreements. Final module, module 9, which is putting things into action, which is action planning, that is identifying personal development needs, using the workplace as a training ground. So this is the overall course outline that we have lined up for your 16-hour session of the art of negotiation. Perfect. All right. So your negotiation is when two parties come to terms of understanding, right? So there are two different parties or two different individuals with the different needs, with the different purpose, right? So when they do not, or when they are not able to come to an agreement, they sit down and then they have a discussion, and that discussion has to go with a lot of pre-planning as to what to go ahead. How do we come to a consensus of agreeing, whether we agree on the same thing or we agree to disagree? So whatever it is, there has to be a lot of planning that goes before you go ahead and negotiate, right? So what do you think are the different ways of planning? Like what exactly goes into the planning process? Now take for example, if you have to negotiate, if you have to talk about let's say you're not interested to take up and a course that your parents want you to do. So say you have different career options, or you want to go into a different stream, right? But your parents may want something very specific for you, right? So how are you going to go ahead and plan on this before you sit down and try and negotiate with your parents as to why they should agree with you? Just few questions. So what are you going to think of before? You are not going to directly go and tell your mom or your dad or your parents that, no, I don't want to go ahead and do this option. Or I don't want to go ahead and take up this course. I want to go ahead and, go into something more creative. I want to take up this course because XYZ. So what is the because, and what are the questions, and what is the planning, or what is the planned process that you are actually going to have before you go ahead and talk to your parents about this? So you cannot just tell them, yes, I want to do this. So if you are going ahead and telling them you want to do a particular course because you're interested in that, you also need to lure them with the opportunities that that particular course has in store for you, right? And why are you going to do this? Why are you going to explain them the opportunities in the first place? But there is something common between there is something common in the minds, right? So you have something in common, which is your happiness and your career options, your opportunities and stuff. And what is common also, they want the welfare of you, right? So what is the common point here? Now they want you to succeed, and your common thing is that even you want yourself to go ahead and be successful, but also you want happiness. So now using this as a center or an integral point, holding this, you need to draw out all these different options, or you need to go ahead and make a checklist. So perfect. So you said that you're going to think of the opportunities and bring it forward to them. So you are going to, yeah, okay. So the career that they want you to pursue, probably you're going to say that I'm not competent enough to go ahead and take on that course. So one is making sure that, yes, you are giving them the confidence that you are going to be happier in your own field, and you are also going then, explaining about the different opportunities that the skills or the different opportunities that your career is going to have in comparison to theirs. So basically talking about the weightage, that is one thing. And the other one, giving them confidence that you are responsible for your own decisions and you are not going to blame them, and so, right? So this is a way wherein they feel that, yes, oh my God, so if she is going to take on a career path that we suggest to her, and if she's not happy, so probably obviously she's going to blame us, and we do not want to be responsible if she's not going to be happy in future, right? So this is another clever way of putting it, saying that, yes, I know what I want from my life, and I know what I want to go ahead and do, and this is where my happiness lies in. And yeah, so I'm confident with my decisions, and I just need to convince you. Okay, cool. So obviously there has to be some planning that goes into it. There has to be some analyzation. You have to analyze what are their what are their counter reactions. How are they going to go ahead and try to convince you? So basically you need to make sure that you have stronger points in comparison to them. So how are you going to work on these stronger points is to go ahead and understand what could be the possible solutions, or what could be the different topics that they are going to touch on, and making sure that whatever topics that they are going to bring to the discussion, you always have something stronger than what they are bringing to the table, right? Because the main thing about a negotiation is not to have an argument, but it's to reach to a solution wherein both the parties are satisfied, even not completely satisfied, but yes, that there is no no drift, or there is no kind of harsh argument that has to be involved in negotiation. Okay, cool. So that was something about what's happening today. Now moving into it, introduction to negotiation, so which is exchange of offers, collaborative. That's what you guys did, right? So y'all now, whatever y'all spoke was about exchanging of offers. So your parents have something and you guys are bringing something to the table. So then going ahead, analyzing and seeing what ways more, what are the advantages of each particular topic or each element, and that's going with exchanging the offers. Collaborative, no two negotiations are alike. Right. So how are you going to understand this? When we say no two negotiations are alike, so what do you mean, or how are you going to comprehend this? This means to say the way Ria is going to negotiate with her parents is very different from 𝐼𝐸𝐴𝐺, the way he's going to be negotiating with his parents, although it may be for the same topic, or it may be for the same reason that the negotiation is happening in two different households. But of course, the way Ria is going ahead with negotiating with her parents is going to be very different from the way 𝐼𝐸𝐴𝐺 or Johan is going to be negotiating with his parents. Correct? And why? Even though there is the same reasons, even though there is the same output, they want you to go ahead with the career path, you want a different career path. It's exactly the same, but why aren't the two negotiations alike? Okay, so okay, fine. So of course, so coming down, we understand that different people, different mindsets, even though the outcome is the same. Correct. So which is why you need to go ahead and analyze all the different possibilities of going ahead with the negotiating. Now, when you're negotiating with your mom and you're negotiating with your dad, of course, you know what is the mindset of your mom, you know what's the mindset of your dad, and it's easier to go ahead and plan. And also when they have some counterpoints to go ahead, you know how to tackle those and all of that, right? So when you are dealing with unknown people, right? So when you're dealing with them, so it is essential for you to go ahead and understand all the different options as to how you can go ahead and buy them into accepting your offer. Right. And also talking about negotiating with the A and negotiating with B. So when negotiating with A, even though the outcome is the same, but probably the outcome also is with yes, probably yes, if you are happy and if you are confident, if you feel that yes, you can take the best decision by yourself, I would support you. So you can also say that yes, we would try to emotionally buy them in by telling them that yes, this is what I want from life, this is what I want to go ahead and do. So with your mom, probably that would work, but with your dad, probably what works would be all the stats, the facts, the figures, right? So emotions, no bar. So you have to go ahead and do a lot of research while presenting these facts and data to your dad. So no two negotiations are alike. Critical components of business, between friends and family, negotiations can happen anywhere in our daily lives as well. Whether you realize it or no, you would be negotiating on some topic, or it would be even in class, it could be even with your friends, like someone mentioned you want to learn to negotiate so that you don't fight with your sister, right? I negotiate with I have a daughter, a 5-year-old daughter, and I negotiate with her so that she listens to me. I cannot tell her, no, you have to do this, right? So we say that, yes, come on, let's negotiate. And then I ask her, why do you want to do this in the first place? Then if she says, yes, this is what as I expect, then we understand, okay, if this is what the outcome is, now we go ahead and analyze how to satisfy them and yet how to win the argument. Okay, so yeah. Negotiation is conducted neither to widen nor breach the relationship, but to form a new or different configuration. Okay, so now is negotiation same as selling? What do you think? Is negotiation same as selling? Okay, selling could be a part of negotiation. Think of a quick example. That's nice what you said. Yes, selling is a part of negotiation, right? So if you have to think of an example, it could be from your daily life, it could be from anything that is so obvious and that is so generic and that is so mainstream also, it's okay, fine, but just a quick example. So now when we spoke about the example of this career opportunities with your parents, there was no selling that was involved, correct? Right? So so negotiating and selling is different. However, selling could or could not be, but selling becomes a part of negotiating. But negotiation and selling is different. Now let's look into it. So negotiation, selling of offer, exchange of offers, collaborative, no two negotiations are alike, critical components of business, between friends and family, negotiations can happen anywhere in everyday life as well. Now, what about selling? So selling is determining the other's needs, precedes negotiation must conclude before negotiation begins. So what do you think when we say must conclude before negotiation begins? How are you going to comprehend the sentence? Determining others' needs precedes negotiation, must conclude before negotiation begins. So what do you mean by selling has to conclude before the negotiation actually starts off? So must conclude before negotiation begins. So basically it is about the interest. If you decide, if you are interested in buying the painting, then you decide on going ahead and making a purchase, right? So basically I need to sell it to you without the actual monetary aspects involved here. So you walk, now let's say you're walking into my shop. Okay, so you walk into my shop and you are interested, you are not interested, you just walk into the shop and there are 10 different paintings lined up there. So now I need to sell the painting to you. By selling here is I need to catch your interest, I need to get your attention about the paintings that are lined up. You actually just walked in to just look at these paintings, have a good picture, and then walk out. But I want to sell it to you. So I look at you as a prospect and I say that, okay, fine, this person, I probably could sell my painting to him or her. So I say that, yeah, this is really awesome. It would be really nice if you could, put it up in your bedroom or in your hall. It has like a strong message if you look deep through it and stuff like that. So all this, what I'm talking and I'm trying to push my painting to you is selling. So selling here means to say, I am just getting your attention. I am getting your interest into this painting. So after I've got your interest, that's when you say, yeah, I'm kind of interested. And then you ask me, how much are you selling it for? So here is the negotiation which begins, and selling is when I've got your interest into going ahead and wanting to buy the painting. So when to negotiate? So when it comes to taking important decisions, expensive items. So what do you mean by expensive items? If you feel that, yes, the painting that I'm trying to sell to you is really expensive, or I'm overquoting you, or I'm overcharging you, you would then say, no, it's not really worth that much. There are so many different paintings by great artists and the running price in the market is so and so, so and so. So you will always, so negotiating also requires some kind of facts, right? So bringing in those facts would always help you to go ahead and enhance your negotiation skills. Okay, so when taking important decisions could be probably the career opportunities that we were talking about. Expensive items we can relate to the painting. Agreements and solutions requiring refinement. Agreements with multiple variables. Minimum dollar or expense limitation. One second here. But most expensive items are non-negotiable given, yeah, of course. So when we are talking about the most expensive items, they would not be I mean, you can't walk into the mall, you can't walk into H&M and say that, wow, I really like that, but I'm going to stand there and bargain. It does not happen that way, right? So you cannot negotiate. So where do negotiations actually happen? Okay, in your day-to-day life, I just want you to think over, because now, especially with the e-commerce and with the lifestyle these days, there is no much room for this bargaining as comparison to probably, you can say, a few years ago, right? So in your day-to-day life, where do you feel that you probably need to negotiate? Which are the different events that you may come across? Yeah, so I was saying it could be even an example where in your college, in your class, with your friends, with family members. So anything that you can think of which requires you to go ahead and take on a negotiation.
Ma'am, when we are traveling and are on a tight budget, maybe that
Okay.
time.
Okay, so basically, a negotiation happens not only when you're tight on a budget. So if you feel that yes, you walk on where basically shops, these they have really nice stuff, street shopping and stuff, right? So street shops and all that, you feel that yes, they kind of if you're traveling, and they love to overcharge these travelers and the people who are not locals, right? So you also need to go ahead and pretend, or you need to portray a picture to them that yes, you are aware of all the prices and stuff, right? So then you negotiate and say that no, I do not want to pay so much for this, because I feel that you're overcharging me. I don't feel that it is worth so and so price, right? Okay, so it's not necessarily only for the expensive items we are talking about, those branded stuff, but in general, if they are trying to quote an expensive price for something that is not really worth that much money. Okay, so that's what we are talking about, the expensive items here. Okay, then which other instance can you pick up? It could also be, say for example, you guys want a dance choreography to happen in college, and probably they are like, no, you need to choreograph it yourself. But then you all want to go ahead and negotiate with the creative head, or you all want to negotiate with the principal, saying that we really require a dance choreographer, because we are going to take part in the interstate college thingy. And then even though we are good in dancing and stuff, but we need a polished dancer who can go ahead and take our dancing skills to another level and stuff like that, right? So negotiating could be just about in everyday's life, whether we realize it or not, we actually are negotiating a lot. Okay, so here we see Mohini says resale of property. Yeah, selling of property, selling of anything that goes with negotiating. Even on Facebook Marketplace, if you are trying to buy something, and if someone quotes a laptop for, say, for example, $150, or say 15,000 rupees or 20,000 rupees, right? So if you feel that no, you are not going to agree with this price, and obviously they also know that people who are going to show interest in their offer, they would kind of quote it a little high, because they expect people to go ahead and negotiate, right? So they are expecting you to negotiate, and they already have it in mind that people are going to negotiate. So when they negotiate, I actually expecting 17,000 of this laptop, but I'm not going to put up 17, I'm going to put up 20,000. So even if they try and negotiate, and bargain, I'm going to come down by 3,000, and even if I come down by 3,000, I'm still sticking to the price as I expected, which is 17,000. Right. Okay. So yeah, is negotiation limited only to sales? Again, I'm asking this question: is negotiation restricted only to sales? Okay, so here we have a lot in the chat box. Let's see. No. Yeah, correct. So negotiation is not restricted only to sales. So here you have salary negotiations, you have hostage negotiations, right? Then you have family and friends negotiations, then you have war negotiations, right? So in salary negotiations, this is very common. You quote a price, you have a discussion with the HR, Okay, it can be for a genuine day-to-day decisions. Yeah. It can take place in daily life. Yes, perfect. Okay. So salary negotiations, so of course, when you guys actually complete your course, and then when you all enter into the field of working and the work life and stuff, so that time you all will actually understand the salary negotiation part. And yeah, so salary negotiations, you have an offer in mind. I mean, even if you have like experience and stuff, so you want like 30% hike, but then the HR of the other company who wants to buy you in would probably say that, we are only offering 10%. Then you will go ahead and negotiate. I'm having so much of experience, these many years of experience. I'm the right fit. I'm going to be fulfilling all the roles and responsibilities as stated in the job description, and all of these aspects that you will go ahead and bring to the table. So salary negotiations are very common in every employee's life. Then hostage negotiations. So which is the movie can you quickly think of and, just give an example of hostage negotiations? Movies or series from Netflix? All right, then war negotiations. Okay, war negotiations are very common, which is all into political issues. They go ahead and say that, we want so many of our prisoners to be released and this and that. Again, this, you see, war negotiations, we have like n number of examples from the movies itself, right? So from the movies, we have different examples which they portray these political parties and what they require. And I think Wednesday, if you guys have watched that movie, is it something related to a war negotiation on those lines, like political negotiations you can talk about? So now I want, as a part of an activity, what we can do is hostage, salary, war, family negotiations, family and friend negotiations, specifically salary negotiations, hostage negotiations and stuff. You'll also need to get down to creating a scenario. So I want you to create a scenario with regards to salary negotiations. Now, say, for example, the scenario would be you yourself or a character that you're coming up with. So what is the scenario? So the scenario would be probably an experienced person with 5 years of experience. He is shifting from company A to company B, right? And his expectation is 12 lakh per annum, or you can say 20 lakh per annum. So 20 lakh per annum with 5 to 7 years of experience. And then the company B is really interested and is really happy to hire him, but they can give him only 15 to 20% hike of what he was of his expectation, of what he was previously earning. So he was previously earning, his package was previously, you can say, 12 lakh, and his expectation is now, say, a 30% hike. But then company B says, no, we can give you a hike only of 15%, but they're still interested in getting him in. So I want you to create like a scenario, and I want you to come up with a conclusion as to what are the points that, your character is going to throw into the HR, and what is the ultimate solution. So would you guys do this in groups? So it would be salary negotiation, one group number one can go ahead and create a scenario. Then group number two can create a scenario for hostage negotiation. So maybe you can pull up like a movie story or something like that. It'll be really interesting. Then war negotiations, if anyone is interested, maybe you can look up from different movies and stuff. You can bring different examples. And family and friend negotiation, that happens in daily lives. You can think of any scenario. Okay, so is negotiation an art? Is negotiation an art? Is negotiation a science? What is it?
Is it a skill?
Okay, it is a skill. Yes, correct. So it is a skill because of
both. It's a combination of both, I think.
So negotiation is an art, negotiation is science. So how is a negotiation an art and science, right? So it's an art because, of course, it requires you to go ahead and understand, the different, it also needs you to have like psychological skills. It also needs you to be sensitive towards the opposition party. It requires you to go ahead and understand the cultural differences. It goes ahead with, maintaining the dialogues. It goes ahead with maintaining the decorum. It goes ahead with putting forward your points strongly, but yet being very subtle. So which is why it is an art. Now, why is it a science? It is a science because it also involves a lot of theories, it involves a lot of concepts, methodologies, and all of that, right? So negotiation is an art, it's a science, because of course it requires you to be sensitive, yet it requires you to follow concepts, theories, and methods which would make you an effective negotiator overall, ultimately. Okay, so what are the different skills according to you, or you can say what are the different styles of negotiating according to you when you are going ahead and negotiating, right? So maybe you can come up with an own style of yours and you can give it a name. So that would be like a wow, a new style of negotiation that could be added to what is already there. Okay, so Deepankar says convincing power. Okay, correct. So your negotiation style would be to go ahead and convince the others into accepting your proposal, into accepting what you are offering. Correct. So basically negotiation is what exchange of offers, and if your style is to convince them, then yes, that would be a style of negotiation. So convincing, yes. Then what else could you think of? Okay, now look at this, hostage negotiations. What could be the other styles of negotiation? How about competing? Okay, let me see what you have in the chat. Being considerate while stating your points clearly. Okay, correct. So being considerate while stating your points clearly. So you can say this is accommodating, right? And there is a style that exists, which is called accommodating. And this, as Ashima clearly says, being considerate while stating your points affirmatively and very clearly. So this is an accommodating style of negotiation. Okay, cool. Then the partner says convincing. Okay, so what are the other styles that you could think of? Trying to achieve a middle ground. Okay, this is the main objective of negotiation, right? So the main objective of negotiation is coming to a consensus where both parties are agreeing. Okay, manipulating. Oh, wow, this is interesting. So manipulating style. Okay, but is it ethical? Yeah, so you can say there are negotiators who try and manipulate you. Okay, so manipulating is also a style wherein they are trying to manipulate, wherein they are trying to buy you in, they are trying to, convince you by manipulating. Okay, correct. Then what else? Competing a style of negotiation? Is competing a style of negotiation? Yes, no, no. Okay, Ashima says no. Okay, so now I'll give you a scenario. Now, there are 10 suppliers. Okay, so 10 suppliers. Okay, give people an astonishingly high offer and then settle on something that you originally wanted. Okay. So this would be giving people, okay, this is like a tactic that you use in negotiating. Okay, this you can say is a tactic. Okay, cool. So I was saying, I asked if, okay, brute force maybe by making sure that the other person feels that he is in the laws if he doesn't comply. Oh, wow, this is a nice, interesting one. Okay. Yeah, okay. So basically, you are not going to, okay, fine. So this is again another interesting style. So you are going to give them the opportunities, you're going to be explaining everything in detail, and if they don't, you're not going to convince them, but you're going to show or portray, or you're going to just create like a situation wherein they tend to feel that, if I don't agree to this, I would be losing out on, something that I really expected or I really wanted. Okay, cool. That's also interesting. That's nice. Okay, so again, I'll ask you, do you still agree if competing a style of negotiating? Yes or no? Yes, no, competing? Okay, so it looks like you're all confused. So now I'll give you an example. So basically, now say there are 10 different suppliers and you are the only person who wants to buy you are interested in buying, say, let's say, what are you interested in buying? You are interested in buying, what are you interested in buying? Some raw materials, okay? So you are interested in buying, and there are 10 different suppliers. Now, of course, the suppliers have to compete with each other in order to win you, in order to win the deal from you, right? So isn't that a competing style? So I'll have to go ahead and make sure my quote, the way I'm quoting my prices, the way I'm trying to buy you in, I'll have to make sure that I also consider my opponents. I need to also consider my competitors, and then I will have to follow a style wherein I'm trying to hold my grip, and I'm trying to offer you something which I can lure you in by offering a competitive advantage, and by also offering prices that are kind of reasonable and competitive. So now, do you think competitive is a style of negotiating? Okay, Larsen and Toubro is winning bids for engineering projects by bidding the lowest amount, as in charging the least. In a way, this is a competitive and hence a way of good negotiating. Okay, and this is also called as market penetration pricing strategy. Market penetration pricing strategy is basically entering the market with completely low prices, even though they are making losses initially. They do not care, because that's a way of trying to, yeah, Jio is a good example. So Jio came and changed like the whole market now, because of the way Jio started. I think we used to get 1.5 GB data per month, if I'm not mistaken. Then Jio came and they started giving away 1.5 GB every day, and for a very minimal price, right? So since everyone started shifting to Jio, what happened? The whole market was shaken, and all the other competitors, they had to go ahead and lower the price because to sustain in the market. Okay, so yeah. So now the styles are competing, then accommodating, then avoiding, compromising. How is compromising? Could you think of a quick example? Collaborative. Okay, I put it up in the chat. Okay, so compromising. So basically compromising is, we can say negotiations are a compromising thingy. So basically you would compromise because they are suffering a loss when compromising. Yeah, okay, so you can think of a quick example. Yes, I'm going to compromise, and I don't mind losing it and accepting their proposal, because if I don't accept their proposal, I would be at a bigger loss. So you tend to compromise. Okay, so here. Okay, so what is avoiding? Okay, so what is avoiding? So we have competing, accommodating, compromising, collaborative. Collaborative is when you and your opponent, you'll go ahead and you'll come to terms of understanding, or come to terms of a settlement by which both of you agree on the same lines. Now, what is avoiding? Any idea? I want you to think of it now. Okay, so avoiding is when you don't like the price, you walk away. Okay, correct. So basically in avoiding negotiation style, it follows this thing as, yes, I lose, you lose. So basically exactly what Tanishq has said, I don't like the price. You don't like the price, you walk away. So I also don't agree to the price that you are offering. You also don't agree to the price I'm offering. And what happens? It's completely, we do not go ahead with arriving at a solution, and we do not go ahead with, coming to terms of a settlement. So then what's going to happen? It's just going to be left at a standstill. We don't go ahead. You don't make the purchase. I don't make the sale. So we both are at a loss. I'm at a loss because I've not made the sale for my product. You're at a loss because you wanted to buy this product, but my price was too high, so you didn't buy the product. So I didn't sell, you didn't buy. We both are at a loss. So that is your avoiding negotiation style. So avoiding negotiation style is where the negotiation comes at standstill. stands still and does not go ahead any further, because you just walk away without coming to terms of an agreement. Clear? Okay. Okay, so is negotiation an art? Yes, we said it's an art, and it is science because it goes ahead and incorporates a lot of strategies, concepts, methodologies, and it also needs to, negotiation is also a part of understanding the sentiments and the emotions of another. Yeah, okay, so if you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to him in his own language, that goes to his heart. Okay, so what do you mean by the language here? Do we actually mean by the language literally, or does it mean something else here? There's a very famous quote by Nelson Mandela. So if you talk to a man in a language he understands, that goes to his head. If you talk to if you talk to him in his own language, that goes to his heart. So what do you understand from this quote? It has a very strong meaning. So basically, this means to say that yes, we are talking in a same common language that you understand. That yes, so the negotiation could be in the common language. It could be Hindi, it could be English, it could be any language that you and your party are talking into, that he understands and goes to his head. But when we are saying, it says, if you talk to him in his own language, so basically in the language, considering his thoughts, considering his opinions, considering his what do you say, his psychology, his mindset, his emotions, right? So that is what you need to consider, which would actually go to the heart. So there's a very famous quote by Nelson Mandela: don't talk to a person just in the language, but talk to him while considering the emotions, the psychology, the mindset. So that is where it's going to actually hit the heart. And when it goes to the heart, of course, the battle is half won. Okay, so basic principles to follow while negotiating. So principle 1, expect the unexpected, right? So be calm, think positively, list out the different possibilities and act accordingly. Okay, so expect the unexpected. So you cannot, initially we started off saying that negotiation does not go ahead with directly sitting and discussing without having any points in mind, right? So a lot of planning goes before going ahead and negotiating, right? So the first thing is to actually go ahead and expect the unexpected. Means, you know, there are some different outcomes probably which you didn't really know, that, you know, this is what your opponent is expecting, or this is what the other party is expecting, right? So you need to expect everything. You need to work on different angles, and then you need to come to a consensus of what could be the strong points that you could go ahead and put forth. Be calm, think positively, list out the different possibilities and act accordingly. Be tough to the cause and be kind to the people, right? So I think there was one participant here who said that yes, you may come across, what do you say, you may come across very harshly, right? So yes, you need to go ahead and be harsh, not harsh, you need to be tough, you can say, you need to be adamant, or you need to be very affirmative to the cause or to the outcome, but you need to be kind while considering the other emotions and the other party's emotions as well. Right, people will forget what you did, but will never forget how you made them feel. Right, so when the person on the other end is being rude, so firstly, if the other person is being rude, there has to be some compromise, right? So you cannot go, yeah, so you cannot go with a style wherein that yes, if he's going to be rude, I'm going to be rude too. So if both are going to be rude, so what's going to happen, it's going to end up it's going to end up with an avoiding style of negotiating, and it's going to end up wherein you are not going to get what you want, and the person who's arguing is not going to get what he wants. So it's not a win-win situation, but it would be a lose-lose situation wherein wherein both of you are not agreeing and both of you are just screaming. So that's not going to be the main objective of negotiating, right? So if the other person is rude, what you could do is you could just try and ask first. You need to understand why is he being rude. Okay, so we have like an example towards the end over here. So in that we will clearly understand and work on different ways. So there we can speak about this rude aspect as well. Okay, so stages of negotiation. So prepare, negotiate, close, perform, and evaluate. So yeah, prepare. So plan your negotiation strategy. So what is your negotiation strategy? So how are you going to go ahead and so what is your negotiation strategy? What is a strategy firstly, right? This is a predetermined approach, or you can say your plan of action to achieve your goal or objective in order to win the agreement or win the proposal. How to be tough without being harsh. Yeah, that you don't have to be tough. You have to be tough with regards to sticking to what you want, with regards to sticking to your outcome, with regards to sticking to the objectives. So that way you have to be very tough, and you need to make sure that if the other person is trying to emotionally buy you in, you need to make sure that you need to be tough with regards to what you want, right? Like we are talking about your career options, right? So if you can say if a third person, or if your other relative probably is trying to convince you, saying that these are a good options and stuff like that, and emotionally saying that ultimately you'll make your parents happy and all of that, you need to make sure that you ultimately do not agree to what they are trying to say until and unless you have an open conversation directly with your parents who matter to you, right? So if it's going to be a third person who is not going to hold much value in your life, and if they are trying to buy you in emotionally, then that wouldn't make sense firstly, right? So you need to be tough with regards to your outcome. You need to make sure that you're not bought in easily, so that you have to come to a consensus. So like I said, we will work on this negotiation canvas that would actually help us to focus on our points, and we will also look into a small case study. Okay, so prepare, that is plan your negotiation strategy. Negotiate, use key tactics for success. Close, that is close after you all go ahead and come to a consensus of an agreement. Perform and evaluate, that is coming to the end game, that is after everything is done, whatever decision is taken, you go ahead and perform, and you'll act on the final decision. So now let's look into the negotiation canvas. So my desired outcome, their desired outcome, my key interests, their key interests, bargaining chips, my walkaway alternative, possible solutions that are there. All right. So this is the negotiation canvas. Now we will look into it, and we will work on filling these topics or these elements, or you can say this checklist here. Now the case study says 2 siblings, 1 orange, both want the orange. Okay, there are 2 siblings. This is a very famous one with regards to understanding the negotiation. So 2 siblings, just one, so 2 siblings, there's just 1 orange. Both of them want the orange. So what could be the optimal solution? Okay, so before we actually work on this canvas, so what do you think the optimal solution would be? Both of them ultimately want the orange. So what is the solution? Share. So most of you are saying share. Any other cut into half, okay? No, both want the full orange, if I say. Okay, now my desired outcome, their desired outcome. So say sibling one. Okay, let's look at some more other answers. Coin toss. Okay, that's very clever. You can have it now, I'll have it later. Okay, so this is very compromising. So then Mohini says you have it now, I'll have it later. So that is compromising. Okay, one might promise that I'll buy you another one. The elder one needs to compromise or offer something. Okay, yeah, now that's interesting. Now you see, or offer something else something else instead. Okay, so we will work on this point here. So Mohini says offer something else instead. Okay, so no one gets the orange. Johan says no one gets the orange. So if no one gets the orange, this is the avoiding style, which is not going to be fruitful, which is not going to, which is basically the negotiation outcome is just not met. So there is no solution. So the main objective of a negotiation is to go ahead and come out with a win-win solution, correct? So yeah, okay, so have them compete for it. Okay, compete for it is also a good, clever idea. Tossing the coin. And now let's look at Mohini. Mohini says, offer something else instead. Okay, so now let's see, offer something else interested. Now my desired outcome, their desired outcome. So what is my desired outcome? So let us say, okay, so both of them want the orange. So Amy and Penny, right? Okay, so here the desired outcome is what? What's the desired outcome? Now the key interests, my key interests, their key interests. Now actually let's go into this directly. So this will help you understand much better. Okay, wouldn't it matter what both of them want the orange for? Like, do they both want to eat? Okay, yeah, so this is again a very clever answer by Atharv, right? Atharv Kulkarni. Okay, yeah. So now you see, now let's look into this. This is the negotiation canvas. This is the case study. Both of them want the orange, and now this is the completed case study. So now let's look into it. Amy and Penny, right? So Amy's desired outcome is the orange. Penny's desired outcome is the orange. Now Amy's key interests. Now Amy's key interests and Penny's key interest. Now Amy wants the orange to go ahead and make an orange cake. Now why does she want to make an orange cake? Because she's craving for something sweet. So Amy wants the orange because she's craving for something sweet, which is why she wants to make the orange cake. Right? Now Penny's key interests. Now Penny wants the orange because she wants to make the orange juice. And why does she want to make the orange juice? Probably because she's thirsty. Okay, is it clear so far? My key interest, your key interest. So both of them want the orange. That's the desired outcome. Now Amy's key interest. Now why does she want the orange, right? So why? So basically the key interest goes by why do you want the desired outcome? So your main questions to go and fill in this detail would be why, and why. So why do you want the orange? Because I want to make an orange cake. Why do you want to make an orange cake? Because I'm craving for something sweet. Why do you want the orange? Because I want orange juice. Why do you want the orange juice? Because I'm thirsty. Okay, now let's look into the walkaway alternatives. So now what is the walkaway alternatives? So you may either decide to give up and lose the orange, or you may fight with Penny. So if I decide to give up and lose the orange, I'm going to compromise, or I'm going to just avoid, or I'm not going to get what I want. I've lost the negotiation, basically. So if I fight with Penny, what's going to happen? I'm going to be upset. Penny is going to be upset. Mom is going to be upset. And there's everyone who's going to be upset. And ultimately, that's not a nice thing if everyone around are upset. So I do not want to fight with Penny, and I do not want to give up and lose the orange. I want the orange, and I also want things to be fine between me and my sister. Now, same way with Penny, she has two options. Either I give up and lose the orange, or I fight with Amy. Now, let's not look into the walkaway. This is the walkaway, but let's try and, work around some solutions. Now, here Amy's bargaining chips. So now what are these bargaining chips? These bargaining chips are basically what can I do or offer her so that I get to keep my orange. So what is Amy's bargaining chips? Bargaining chips is what can Amy offer Penny so that she gets to keep the orange. And Penny's bargaining chips are what can Penny offer Amy so that Penny gets to keep the orange. Correct? Clear? So now here, how do you work on these bargaining chips? Now I want you to go ahead and interact rather than putting it up in the chat. So how do you go ahead and fill in these? How are you going to go ahead and work around the bargaining chips?
I guess ma'am, are you asking us for like a solution about how we would go about?
Yes. So I'm asking you now. Yes, Amy and Penny. So now say you are Amy, right? So you are Amy. Now what are you going to offer Penny? And it says pulp, it says money, it says water. So now after working on what aspect are you coming up with these solutions? So basically here, this means to say, as you rightly said, now the bargaining chips are, for how are you going to come up with the bargaining chips? You are going to come up with the bargaining chips for you need to come up with the bargaining chips by firstly understanding the main interests of Penny. Now Amy cannot simply come up with the bargaining chips before understanding what are Penny's interests. Now when Amy understands that Penny's interest is the orange juice because she is thirsty, now Penny can offer her something, right? So now Amy understands, okay, Penny wants orange juice because she's thirsty. Now, why don't I offer her the pulp of some other fruit to quench her thirst? Or why don't I offer her money to go and buy herself a bottle of water? Or why don't I give her water itself, right? So by giving her water, I'll be quenching her thirst. By giving her money, I'm going to give her money so that she buys water to quench her thirst. I'm giving her another pulp, not the orange, probably of mango, so that she makes mango juice and she quenches her thirst, right? So this is Amy's understanding. Now, Penny's bargaining chips. Now, Penny's coming up with these bargaining chips by understanding what is Amy's interest. Now, Penny says, okay, fine. So she wants to make an orange cake. So I can give her the peel. Or I can give her money to buy another orange. Or I can give her a chocolate because she's craving for something sweet. Correct? Now, let us consider these aspects over here. So now water, she feels that no, I do not want water. Amy says that no, it's going to, if Amy is going to be giving Penny water, Penny feels that no, water is not of my interest. I want something cold. I want something refreshing that would actually quench my thirst, but I don't want water. And Penny says, no, I do not want money because I'll have to go walk that far and I'll have to, walk to the shop and buy the water. So I do not want that. Now looking at solution 3, which is pulp. Okay, this is interesting. I want to quench my thirst and I do not want to quench my thirst with water, but I want to quench my thirst with some fruit. So if she's going to give me a mango instead of orange, probably that would be a good solution. Correct? So this is Penny's understanding after looking into what Amy is offering her. Correct? Is that clear? Okay, now when Amy is looking into Penny, so Amy says, no, I do not want the money because I do not want to go that far to the shop and buy what I need. I do not want the chocolate because I do not want to, go ahead with buying and eating some chocolate just to satisfy my cravings for a sweet. But looking at the option peel, oh wow, peel seems to be good. I will take the peel, make the orange cake. I wanted the orange just because I needed the peel. So I'm getting to keep 100% of what I wanted, and she's getting to keep 100% of what she wanted. So this way, the agreement, both are satisfied, both are happy, and then this was a successful negotiation, right? Okay, so that's about it for today. So now looking into this negotiation canvas that we just spoke about. So here in between you guys had doubts like, how do you come across sticking to what you want, or how do we be tough, right? So understanding what are your interests and weighing your interests in comparison to your opponent's interests. So you stick to what you want and offer something in exchange that would satisfy the interests or the requirements of your other person whom you are negotiating with. And if they appear to be rude, again, you stick to these key aspects of what you can offer them so that they are happy. When are they going to be unhappy, and when are they going to pounce, or when are they going to appear to be rude? If you are not going to understand what they want, and if you are not going to have good bargaining chips to offer. So how are you going to come up with good bargaining chips? By understanding their key interests. By understanding their key interests and understanding your key interests, you will understand what you want, you will understand what they want, and then you are going to offer them good bargaining chips wherein both of y'all are going to be happy and satisfied. So now moving back to this, now salary negotiation, hostage, war, and family and friends. So I spoke to you about the scenario, right? So the same scenarios y'all can come up with, thinking about, here, like as simple as this. The case study, two sisters, two siblings, Amy and Penny, one orange, both want the orange. So you can just come up with something like this, like salary negotiation. So the employee and the HR, 15%, 30% hike, and then the HR wants to offer only 15% hike. So what is the optimal solution? You can work on a canvas like this, and then you can understand how to exactly work around offering good bargaining chips and stuff. Okay, so that's the end of it. All clear?